Most people who encounter crypto the first time either get a 45-minute lecture full of words they have never heard before, or they get a 30-second pitch that leaves out everything that actually matters. Neither version serves them. So this video exists to do the thing that both of those fail at: explain crypto completely, clearly, and honestly, in a way that a smart person with no prior knowledge can follow from start to finish. If you are brand new to this space, or if you know someone who keeps asking what crypto actually is, and you are not quite sure how to explain it, this is the video to start with. And if you are already deep in this world, send this to the person in your life who has been asking. Let us begin with the problem that crypto was built to solve, because you cannot understand what something is until you understand why it exists. Right now, every single financial transaction you make goes through a middleman. You pay at a store with a card. Your bank talks to their bank. Messages pass through payment networks. Fees are charged at every step. The transaction settles days later. If you want to send money internationally, the system adds currency conversion, correspondent bank fees, multi-day delays, and a paper trail that passes through as many as 5 separate institutions before the money arrives. If your government decides your account should be frozen, it is frozen. If your bank goes under, your ability to access your own money depends on the solvency of a third party you did not choose. And if you live in one of the approximately 1.4 billion places on Earth without adequate banking access, none of this infrastructure is available to you at all. In 2008, an anonymous person or group writing under the name Satoshi Nakamoto published a 9-page document describing a system for electronic cash that could move between two people anywhere on Earth without requiring any financial institution in the middle. That system was Bitcoin, and it introduced the technology that every cryptocurrency since has been built on, a technology called the blockchain. Here's the simplest, honest explanation of what a blockchain is. Imagine a spreadsheet that records every transaction ever made. Now, imagine that instead of living on one server owned by one company, that spreadsheet lives simultaneously on thousands of computers around the world, all owned by different people in different countries. Every time a new transaction happens, all those computers check it, agree on whether it's valid, and add it to the record simultaneously. And once something is added to the record, it cannot be changed. Not by the person who made the transaction, not by a government, not by the company that built the system, not by anyone. It is mathematically permanent. That's the blockchain. A shared, decentralized, tamper-proof record book that no single entity controls. And the fact that it requires no trusted central authority to operate is the thing that makes it genuinely new. Every financial system that existed before blockchain required you to trust someone: a bank, a government, a payment company. Blockchain replaced that trust requirement with mathematics. The system verifies itself automatically, and the proof of every transaction is visible to anyone who wants to check it. A cryptocurrency is simply a unit of value that lives on one of these blockchains. It has no physical form. There is no coin in your hand. There is only a record on a decentralized ledger that says a certain amount of value is assigned to a certain address, and that you control that address because you hold the private key that corresponds to it. The private key is the most important concept for any new crypto holder to understand deeply. Your private key is a long string of letters and numbers, or more practically for humans, a sequence of 12 or 24 words called a seed phrase that mathematically proves your ownership of the crypto at a specific address. Anyone who has your private key has your crypto. Anyone who does not have your private key cannot access your crypto. Not a hacker, not an exchange, not a government, not anyone. The blockchain doesn't know who you are as a person. It only recognizes the mathematical proof of your key. This is why the phrase, "not your keys, not your crypto," exists in this space. When you hold crypto on an exchange, you don't actually hold crypto. You hold an IOU from that exchange. The exchange holds the crypto on your behalf, and you're trusting them the same way you trust a bank. When you hold crypto in a self-custody wallet where you control the private key, you hold actual crypto. No third party can freeze it, seize it, or lose it through their own insolvency. Now, let's talk about the landscape of what actually exists in crypto, because most people lump everything together when the different assets are actually doing different things. Bitcoin is the original. It was designed to be digital money with a fixed supply. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in existence. The system was programmed this way, and no person or organization can change it. The controlled supply is what makes Bitcoin function as a store of value in the eyes of its holders. Traditional currencies can be printed at will by governments, which reduces the purchasing power of every existing unit over time. Bitcoin cannot be printed. Every new Bitcoin that enters circulation does so through a process called mining, where computers compete to solve mathematical puzzles, and the winners receive newly created Bitcoin as a reward. That reward is cut in half approximately every 4 years, an event called a halving, meaning the rate at which new Bitcoin is created continuously decelerates. The last Bitcoin will be mined sometime around the year 2140. Ethereum introduced something that Bitcoin was not built to do. Where Bitcoin is primarily digital money, Ethereum is a programmable blockchain. It introduced the concept of smart contracts, which are self-executing agreements written in code that run automatically when predetermined conditions are met, without any human or institution needed to enforce them. This made Ethereum a platform, not just a currency. Developers can build applications on top of it. Decentralized finance protocols, digital ownership records, and automated agreements of almost any kind can run on Ethereum's blockchain. ETH, Ethereum's native currency, is used to pay the fees for running these applications on the network. The vast category of altcoins includes every cryptocurrency that is not Bitcoin. This ranges from serious, well-funded projects with real institutional adoption and documented utility, all the way to complete scams that were created to steal money from inexperienced investors. The difference between those two poles is enormous, and the skill of telling them apart is the single most important skill any investor in this space needs to develop. A subset of altcoins worth understanding specifically are payment and settlement-focused networks. XRP, built on the XRP ledger by Ripple, was designed to move value between financial institutions across borders in seconds for fractions of a cent. XLM, the native currency of the Stellar network, was designed for similar cross-border payment infrastructure, with a focus on financial inclusion for the unbanked. HBAR, the native currency of Hedera Hashgraph, uses a different technology called Hashgraph Consensus, rather than traditional blockchain, to achieve enterprise-grade settlement speed and security. These three are among the assets most directly aligned with the ISO 20225 Global Financial Messaging Standard that every major bank in the world is now required to use for cross-border payment instructions, a standard that became mandatory for all SWIFT institution-to-institution messages on November 22nd of 2025. Then there are stablecoins. A stablecoin is a cryptocurrency that is designed to maintain a stable value relative to a real-world asset, typically the US dollar. USDT and USDC are the most widely used. Stablecoins serve as the bridge between the traditional financial world and the crypto world. They allow people to move value on blockchain rails without exposure to price volatility. As of the first quarter of 2026, stablecoins collectively have a market cap exceeding $350 billion and process trillions in annual transaction volume. Let us talk about who is actually in this market right now, because the scale of what has happened here is genuinely surprising to most people who encounter it for the first time. Approximately 560 million people globally own some form of cryptocurrency in 2026. That is 9.9% of the total internet-connected population on Earth. The number grew 33% in a single year from 420 million in 2023. 30% of American adults own crypto as of 2026, up from 27% in 2024. The total cryptocurrency market capitalization sits at approximately $2.5 trillion as of April 2026, down from a peak of $3.8 trillion in late 2024, but still representing one of the most significant new asset classes in the history of finance. U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs, which allow people to gain Bitcoin exposure through traditional brokerage accounts without holding the asset directly, have accumulated over $128 billion in assets under management since launching in January 2024. This represents institutional capital that previously had no clean, regulated pathway into the asset class. 74% of crypto owners in the United States hold Bitcoin. The second most commonly held assets are Ethereum and Solana. Bitcoin millionaires have more than doubled in the past year, with approximately 192,000 Bitcoin millionaires globally as of early 2026, up from approximately 88,000 the year prior. Now, let us address the risks honestly, because anyone who tells you only the upside is either naive or selling something. Cryptocurrency is volatile in ways that traditional asset classes are not. Bitcoin lost 64% of its value in 2022. It has recovered to new all-time highs since, but the people who panic sold at the bottom did not participate in that recovery. The volatility is real and documented across every market cycle. Scams are rampant in this space. The design of crypto, where transactions are irreversible and pseudonymous, makes it an attractive target for fraud. Common scams include fake airdrop websites that steal private keys, influencer-promoted projects that dump value on retail buyers after insiders have sold, and fraudulent platforms that appear to offer yield and then disappear with deposits. The rule that eliminates most scams is simple. If anyone is asking you to send crypto to receive more back, it's a scam. If anyone is asking for your seed phrase for any reason, it's a scam. No legitimate service ever needs your seed phrase. The security of your own holdings depends entirely on your own practices. The blockchain itself is extraordinarily difficult to attack. The edges of the system, specifically the platforms, wallets, and human practices around it, are where almost all losses occur. $2.5 billion in crypto was stolen in the first half of 2025 alone, not through attacking blockchains, but through attacking the humans and applications around them. Regulatory status varies dramatically by country and continues to evolve rapidly. The U.S. passed its first comprehensive stablecoin legislation in 2025 with the Genius Act. The European Union's MiCA framework becomes fully enforceable by July 1st of 2026. Japan reclassified crypto as a financial instrument in April 2026. The regulatory picture is moving toward clarity in most major economies, but it's not there yet uniformly. Here's the part that brings all of this together. Why does this matter for a person who is not a trader, not a programmer, and not deeply interested in financial markets? Because the infrastructure of how money moves globally is being rebuilt, not disrupted as a metaphor, literally rebuilt on new rails. The systems that currently require multiple correspondent banks, 2 to 5 business day settlement windows, $10 to $50 per transaction fees, and hundreds of billions of dollars sitting idle in pre-funding accounts are being replaced with systems that settle in seconds for a fraction of a cent and require no central intermediary. The $27 trillion estimated to be trapped in pre-funded correspondent banking accounts globally is a capital allocation problem that blockchain payment infrastructure exists specifically to solve. Whether that transition happens through XRP, XLM, HBAR, or some combination of assets is a question the market hasn't fully answered. Whether it happens over 2 years or 10 years is a question nobody can answer with certainty. But that the transition is happening, that banks are adopting ISO 20022 standards, that stablecoins are settling trillions in volume, that institutional capital is flowing into regulated crypto investment products at rates that were unimaginable 5 years ago, that over 500 million people now own digital assets. These are facts recorded on public ledgers and in regulatory filings, not predictions. Understanding what you own, why it was built, what problem it solves, and what the honest risks are, that's the difference between a speculative bet and an informed position. Both involve uncertainty. Only one involves preparation. Not financial advice. This is an educational overview only. Research specific assets, regulations in your jurisdiction, and your own risk tolerance before making any investment decisions.
If this video gave someone you know the foundation they needed to stop feeling lost in this space, share it with them right now. That's genuinely the most useful thing a video like this can do. Subscribe if you want the detailed breakdowns, the regulatory analysis, and the market commentary on top of the basics. Your comment question this week. What was the one thing about crypto you misunderstood before watching this that now makes sense? Drop it below. Those answers help us understand what to cover next. Stay curious, stay informed. The foundation matters.